The Libyan Revolution, also referred to as the Libyan Civil War, was an armed conflict in 2011. It was an uprising that saw rebel forces overthrow Colonel Muammar Al-Qaddafi and his supporters. The revolution started on February 15, 2011, and lasted until October 23, 2011, a total of 8 months, 1 week, and 1 day. Muammar al-Qaddafi was born in 1942 in a Bedouin tent in Sirte, Libya. He joined the military, as many men did, since although they couldn't get into universities, the military is always looking for able-bodied men. Al-Qaddafi rose up through the ranks and staged a coup, seizing power from King Idris in 1969. One of the first things he did as ruler was get rid of the American and British military bases stationed in Libya, as well as expel the Jews and Italians in Libya. Early in his rule, al-Qaddafi was well supported for his Arab nationalist rhetoric and socialist-style policies. However, he became corrupt, got involved with military interference in Africa, and developed a record of horrific human rights abuses, which turned much of the Libyan population against him. In the last decade of his rule, he was accused of supporting terrorism. His lack of concern for democracy, coupled with his heinous acts, resulted in his eventual assassination on October 20th, 2011. February 15th, 2011. What seemed like simple protests quickly escalated into full-fledged rebellion that spread across the country. Recent revolutions in both Tunisia and Egypt provided the Libyans with courage. Gaddafi used violence to try and suppress the protests, and things quickly got escalated. Police were ordered to shoot at the protesters, and helicopters were firing from above. Death counts rose, and Libyans became more eager to see Gaddafi gone by any means necessary. The forces opposing al-Qaddafi gained control of much of Libya by February 2011 and formed a governing body, the National Transitional Council, or NTC. By the end of March 2011, NATO had begun to support the rebel forces and had performed 6 airstrikes. June 2011, the International Criminal Court issued warrants for the arrest of Gaddafi, his son, and his brother-in-law for crimes against humanity. In August 2011, Tripoli fell to rebel forces, and it was seen as a symbolic end of Gaddafi's rule. And finally, in October 2011, Gaddafi was killed. Muammar al-Qaddafi was a dictator, plain and simple. He desecrated human rights, and when people tried to challenge him, they were met with brutal force. The people were protesting dictatorship and asking for democracy. However, Gaddafi and his army deployed helicopter gunships. He was not interested in crowd control. He wanted to slaughter those who opposed him. The way Gaddafi was treating his people, coupled with the actions done to silence the protests, violated rights and core democratic beliefs. Under the idea of democracy, a person has the right to life that cannot be violated unless their life or the lives of others around them are threatened. These protesters were not putting lives at risk, but simply wanted change. Each person has the right to personal, political, and economic freedom, the right to organize in groups, and to express their ideas in public. People also have the right to choose their own government and have a duty that if the current government isn't performing well, to find a new one. Gaddafi had violated all these core principles of democracy. When the people sought change in government and wanted to choose their own, unlike the current form of dictatorship, they were met with bloodshed, which then sparked the revolution, leading to Gaddafi's death. It's sad to think that there are still some countries that are run by a dictatorship. What happened during Gaddafi's rule and the events leading up to the Libyan Revolution are examples of how ineffective dictatorship is as a means of government. Every person has the right to life, liberty, and to have control over their government, and these rights can only be brought forth by a democratic government. The people of Libya just wanted to have a democratic society, one where they can choose who runs their country. However, more than anything, they wanted Gaddafi gone. Based on everything Gaddafi did to them, I think the Libyan rebels were just in their cause, and I support what they did, including the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi.